my God, yeah. Okay, it looks like he's blinking red. Is it? It blinked. Yeah, it went off. Okay. Now we're good. All right. Okay, by the skin of our teeth, we have enough people to conduct business. No, you're here. I'm not knocking anything. All right, welcome to the September. God, it's September, isn't it? Yeah, God, September meeting of the Conway Historic District Commission. First thing is we'll do our roll call. I'm Steve Hurd, chairman.
Emily Walter, vice chair.
Marie Kaysen.
Shane Lind.
Shelby Beagle.
All right. One thing we've got to do first, we have minutes from last meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at them. So it was kind of a short meeting, but if you've had a chance to look, we'll need to make a motion and deal with that real quick.
Make a motion, we accept the meetings from July meeting.
Okay, I'm July, so last month.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, have a motion, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the minutes are good. We have two items tonight, both in the Old Conway Design Overlay District, and just how we conduct our business. We'll call for the applicant, and whoever's here to speak for it, present it, step up to the microphone, and tell us generally what you want to do. We've got the agenda and everything here. We've got drawings, everything that we have, but tell us what you want, and then I'll ask if anybody else is here to speak for it. Then the typical, if there's anybody to speak against it, and sometimes we've had people ask questions, but still we'll make it public. We'll get some input if there's a need, and then we'll bring it back to ourselves. And during the presentation by the applicant, there may be some questions from us as we go, but we try to wait till we're done with the public part, then bring it back up here and talk about it and discuss it. There's parts and pieces. Just a note: the B part, 1926 prints. I'm the architect on that for the applicant, so I'll be presenting that. Last I heard, I was going to be the one. Okay, so I'll take my hat off and hand it to Emily at that point. But with that said, we have the first one is 2119 Duncan Street, new single family residence. If the young man there wants to get up and speak for it. And sorry, and when we do speak,
I'm
name and address.
I'm Bruce Hendricks, and that is 2119 Duncan.
What's your address?
960 Big Sky Trail.
Thank you. It's for the record. That
Okay.
kind of stuff. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine. I didn't say that. So.
We bought the house to the west of that, including this lot, and we had it it's called R2A now, 2119 Duncan, and we're wanting to build a small house on it. The house is 1,256 square feet without the front porch. I think it's around 1,400 square feet with the front porch. I've looked at your notes, and I'm fine with
The recommendations are okay?
My questions would be, I put 36 feet or something, or 40 feet from the front porch to the property line, and then in your notes it suggested 17 to 23.
Right.
Do you want that from the property line to the front porch?
Yeah, and
Good with that.
and it's a range because down the street's a range, and they take an average of what that street front is. So
That's
you don't have
fine.
one out front, or it'll blend in. So
Yeah.
if that works for you, that's good.
That works for me.
Okay.
And then there were some questions about some full-size windows. So I've got 3050s in the bedrooms, and I noticed that one things to be a theme here is I could move the one from the back to a side to help you out on getting a larger window. Mm-hmm. And then these are are these the correct elevations? Yeah.
There's revised now.
Yeah, good. So I'll take that window and I can move it to the side on the rear elevation, and that'll fix you up at the 3050. And then I think y'all mentioned the one of these windows is incorrect. This is all messed up. That window where it says elevation there on the right elevation in the middle will be a 3030. That's a kitchen sink. These guys,
the center window
between me trying to balance around and getting everything.
Sure. But the center window in the right elevation should be a short one to go over a counter.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I forgot what side I'm pretty sure that's right.
Okay.
And then
So I see you've got two elevations show 1/1. The other ones have the grid still. And recommendations are to make them 1/1.
We're kind of,
Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's
we're good with 1/1.
Okay,
I
that's
think
fine.
we like them the best anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the maintenance is pretty easy too.
yeah.
Um,
So we're going to build a house.
okay.
And the
As
front
we-
of
as
it
we
is
see-
going to be
Can I-
hardy siding. And I'm good with the soffit and fascia being hardy
Okay.
or
Wood or whatever.
wood
Whatever.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Sure.
And then the sides and the back will be brick.
Okay.
And that's, for me, that's mostly for maintenance. And
I want to ask a question, and it's if I'm being persnickety or whatever, but the gable on the front and the hip on the back, it won't. You won't have a flat elevate look at it like we have the side elevation,
Yeah.
and and I know you're a builder, and I've asked builders before. Is it cheaper to do a gable or a hip? If you're looking at roofing, okay, it's more expensive. But if you look at, it's that I think it's kind of half doesn't the other.
well, the siding maintenance is
Well, exactly.
the
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, but I've at some reason I've probably even done it before.
I know
too,
the picture looks weird.
I know. But again, you never have a flat view like that, so it's not going to be. And from the street, it won't matter. And I can just be quiet now.
Well, we can think. About
That can be
that.
something discussed over coffee sometime. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not. It really doesn't affect this. I don't have a problem with that on the house. But anybody have any other questions? Any questions from Mr. Hendricks? Okay. Anybody else want to speak in favor of the project? Anybody speaking against it? With that said, it comes back to us for deliberation and whatever we want to do with it.
I'll motion to approve with recommendations.
I'll second.
We have motion and a second with those recommendations. To me, the recommendations are what we usually end up with if they're not already on the paper. So and you're good with them. That gets it tweaked to where it meets our guidelines like we want. I mean, there's really not much to discuss. Really, this is an easy one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody good with that? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. That was easy. Okay. Now,
Okay.
So do I just submit a new drawing to Lauren?
Yeah.
Or just to the permit?
No, I just,
Need to come to you first.
yeah, send it.
We'll make sure this is fixed up on the.
yeah. They'll get it. It'll be part of their stuff. Then the COA gets done to the permits, and then it goes. Then you can do permit. Okay. Yep. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. This
Good seeing you
was
again.
painless.
That was it. Yeah. You can have a nice long dinner now. Go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's place is right across the street.
Thank you.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay, so next we'll address 1926 Prince Street. So who is here to speak in favor?
I will be speaking for the owner and the Leanne and I just met Aaron Stoba, are the couple going to live with a pretty little Aaron right there next to in between. She's a cutie. I'm going to speak if they want to jump in and answer questions, at some point. But I've been charged with speaking. This house originally it was built in 1905.
Need your name and
Oh,
address.
I'm sorry, Steve Hurd, 607 Davis Street.
Thank
See,
you.
that wasn't me. It was her not doing it right. But anyway, even though I gave the instructions.
one
for it.
warning, Steve.
Okay, one warning. Okay. This house was built in 1905, and the Ledbetter family, longtime family, Conway, owned up until St. Peter's bought it a few years ago. I was the architect on converting it to not a house, and which means no showers and the things that families need. The church sold it recently to the Stobas, and they are raring to go to make it a single-family home again. And with the addition that's shown, it should, because I don't know how the family raised the kids they did, but they did it with like one bedroom in that house that we can find, unless it was in the living room or something. But anyway, adding basically a master suite on that piece that's on the back, and redoing the kitchen to come up to speed, and bedroom for Aaron. Plus, there's one coming in about a month and a half, 2 months. So they're trying to fit it to their family. And what the house, I don't think that was addressed. The house is sided with vinyl. The whole thing. Ooh. Yeah, and I think that was missed from the street. It was a nice job that was done, but so we're proposing that the addition has vinyl siding as well to match. That was the goal. I mean, unless you're going to make them two different materials.
That's what we have done in the past.
I've also matched them in the past too. I'm just not to argue, but I am arguing actually. But we'll discuss that in a minute. But generally speaking, we'll deal with that. But we have a carport on the driveway side that it's in the spot where the original carport was when the church bought it. It was one of those metal carports from the 60s that was barely hanging on. It actually was on top of the wall, even in the structure of it. And what we've proposed is to go right inside the wall. Found out city code, not overlay guidelines, that we got to be 10 feet from a structure. And neighbor Mr. Lance's building is right there on the line, and that was too close. What they're fine to do is to bring it to that 10-foot mark and have either a very narrow double loaded or one car in, one car out, or if we work it right, we might can go and pull in facing the house. That's something that I was going to look at. So they're fine to bring it back to like 18 feet, I think instead of 21, it was not that far off. So if we can add a recommendation is to bring it back to that 10-foot line is what they're happy to do.
Okay.
So the only elevation I have of that is the from the back, actually, because I was drawing the back elevation and drew that. But I'm trying to think. Is there anything else for exterior wise? They weren't really adding on that piece, the bedroom piece, and the carport were all that they're doing outside the house.
So the carport. So the carport's shown as this dotted square,
Yes, they're on the right side,
and
it's
Dr. Lance's building is right here.
right. There's a rock wall between them, and it's
Yeah.
that. They're still, they're going to get a fence put in someday and get a survey made to know where the property line is, and that's kind of it's like any old two properties in Old Conway. There's discussion being had before a survey is done where the line is. They're going to figure that out. But the wall, I think the wall was on the line, but again, that was my memory from doing the first one, but I don't recall exactly. But
Okay.
but anyway, but that's so. Like I said, on that site plan, if you look, the carport, the two little dots or columns will come towards the house about 3 or 4 feet, maybe a little bit more. Just but so.
So was that the original location of the carport?
Yeah, it was that. And there's a thing, if it wasn't there, it's not there now. So it's not, you can't say, well, we're just going back where it was. Trust me. but it was taken off because it was falling apart. But it was the right spot for a carport to get right into that back door. So they were going to put that there. Really, that's it. The hope was that siding would be matched just because of the material being. It's all it's just several years old and just doing the same. Not that we're in love with vinyl siding, but it's what the house is, completely covered. And getting a profile to match it, I mean, that can be done, but as far as hardy board or something like that, but it's to me the two materials just seem to, I don't know. One, you got to make sure it's painted right. The other one, I'm not a fan of vinyl siding as a new product on something that didn't have it before, but matching existing is the only thing I'm pulling at, So, and they too the siding that's underneath there, if spending 3 times the money, would probably be very happy with it and do wood, but it was in rough shape when we put the side. This church side put siding on it back years ago.
So how was the siding allowed years ago?
It's probably before the requirements of the.
I don't know
overlay
if the overlay
district.
district was in place then. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think it was because we didn't have to come before the commission.
Plus, this is on the back of the house too, correct?
Right.
The addition's on the back of the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, this is a deep piece of property, but I mean,
Right.
the house is there, but it's
Correct.
And there again, one other thing that I think the size of that addition, the roof and all, it's if you is the roof plan, is it part of this?
No.
Oh shoot, I have very seldom experienced a roof that has so many parts and pieces to it. Gnarly is a good word for it, but it's just that 16-year-old house. Things were done with the family over the years and added parts and pieces on and just roof pieces everywhere. But the addition is just a little bit higher than the main part of the house, but it's so far back from the street. The actual street's lower than the property. It slopes down to the street. As opposed to a gable that would be just looming, with that height. The roof pitch, we're trying to match the existing roof pitch of the main house, the several gables. So it's a 12-12 pitch, steep, but just trying to keep it, be in keeping with what was there. the floor plan, that square makes it that big because it's a big footprint. But from the street and that distance, and then the angle you'll see it, my bet was it's going to kind of reduce itself as it goes back, as opposed to doing a gable like when I looked at was just a monster. Siding just went forever. So that's how we got to where we got as far as size that goes.
What does our guideline say, James, on the siding?
The way that it's always been reviewed is no vinyl. Again, we this has been a major debate in various cases before. If this is the direction that the commission wants to head, then I'll start reviewing it in the way that if there's existing vinyl, then we allow vinyl on additions. But that's not the way I've been reviewing it.
In the past, has the commission rejected someone who's applied and wanted to get vinyl?
Yes.
Well, if that's
Or it rather required it.
well, if that's the case, I think we don't break precedent. I mean, we should be consistent.
Well, I'll for a half second, put my commissioner hat back on. One thing that was preached to us when we first got going with this, planning commission too, for that matter, we don't set precedent technically with our rulings. It's a case by case thing. But if it's a rule to not do it, that's not precedent. That's a rule.
Well, I understand, but I'm thinking of the people who were told no. Then now we're allowing this to go forward.
Sure.
If I was that person who was told no, I would want to know why now it's being allowed.
Yeah.
And then question if it's because the architect serves on the board.
Exactly.
And I think we're going to get scrutinized over that.
I agree. I mean, that doesn't make my decision whether he's the architect or not. Mine is I want to be consistent what people were told in the past, and I don't want.
And I get that.
I don't want someone the commission has told someone in the past you can't do this, and all of a sudden we do it. If that's the case, there needs to be a change on the planning commission's side, but not here. I think we should follow.
It would be a different way of reviewing it than what I've done.
Well, then I don't think
don't
we
think we can
should
start
be
tonight.
inconsistent.
Can I speak?
Absolutely.
Name and
address, please.
Name and address.
Leanne Stovall, 160 Sutherland Road. Here's my question. I'm not really familiar with what hardy board is. What is it?
It's a fiber cement board.
Okay.
It's like an alternative to wood.
Would it have to be painted?
Yeah,
I would assume you would want it to.
There's two or three different
Well, of course we would have to.
different brands out there, but most all will come primed even, and that's a more stable base to paint, and then the paints today much longer.
So it would have
lifespan.
to be painted to match the house.
Yeah, or you could do it some crazy color.
Match the house identically.
What you've got to think is like a 4-inch exposure on the things, and that's pretty standard.
But would it match identically? Like if I went up to it, could I tell a difference from if I was standing from what was original and what was built on just by?
I mean, I think you'd be able to tell a difference if you just added new vinyl.
Yeah, 3 feet away from it. Yeah, but again, from the street. This is my opinion, personal opinion. I doubt it.
And what would the care be for it?
It would actually be the reason we support the fiber cement board is that it is actually easier to care for than vinyl. Vinyl very easily warps. It's a product that doesn't last as long as the fiber
What's the
cement.
price point like?
It is a little bit more expensive,
A little
from
bit
my
by
understanding.
Yeah, it's cheaper
don't
than
know
wood. It's
exactly.
in the middle, but wood
Yeah.
wood is the ideal because that's
course.
how they were
Yeah.
built. Wood's upkeep is different. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just harder and more expensive in long run. But this stuff is basically it's like a concrete board. I mean, that sounds big and clunky, but it's a composite that's shaped just like siding is that you go by that's wood, and it's even worked like that. They use saws and I mean, it's just makes a lot more dust. But the painting, it's to be painted, but I've not seen any studies on longevity of it. But it really depends on the paint. If you get factory primed, that gives you a lot of down the road time.
Because I'm worried about it not matching
Yeah.
and being visually, it just irking me that this isn't the same. I
know.
can tell this isn't the same.
Well,
And
even with the vinyl, it's probably faded what you've got now, and trying to match it new wouldn't look.
absolutely.
That's
If
true.
it were you said another process could be done to be reviewed, right? Is it in the books that it has to absolutely not be vinyl? It
Yes.
has
Yes.
to?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it completely excludes vinyl.
So we can't continue it.
One thing as far
I mean,
as,
unless we gave an allowance. I think that's what we're talking about.
And that's what everybody's opposed to because other people might come up from the past and say it's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
fair.
I think that if we were looking at like you had one small wall, that's where I might make a consideration. This is
I get
a
it.
large
well, and two,
840
physically,
square feet.
even though it's
physically-
in the back.
Right.
physically, we're dying into the existing with this, and there'll be some trim in that corner. Then you will go unobstructed all the way around and die into the back wall where vinyl. You know, there's the transition there. You're not trying to line up a wall of it. That helps. Even if you're trying to do vinyl again, that
Yeah.
helps. You know, so it's as far as a transition. Architecturally, it's the best possibility. I didn't do it on purpose. It's lucky, but it's you'll be able to not obscure because it's gonna be right there together, but they'll be in that corner. You know, from the street. That corner, it's just going to be a shadow.
you can't tell.
Yeah, again, you get the same profile.
Okay.
And which the vinyl siding is pretty basic. The lap siding, the square edge, way it looks. That's about as normal. 4-inch, typically 4 or 5 or 6 inch exposure you get for the hardy board or smart side.
And
For the-
take a piece of your siding
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
and have the color matched and the sheen matched, and you're good.
Take it into the store instead of picking out the right
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Take a piece of
Take it-
siding.
take
Yeah,
it-
because
Okay.
it's
Take it
what's
in.
on
My
the
biggest
building.
concern and biggest worry is I don't want you to be able to see and then be like, what
No,
did they do to this?
no. And you're going to be tearing some off to add on.
Absolutely.
When that piece, when you get some of that, you take it and get it color matched, and that'll be as close as you can get without redoing the whole.
And will probably look better because you'll get it matched closer than if you went and got the original vinyl
Oh yeah,
color.
I wouldn't even look in the catalog for that original vinyl. I would match what's
Okay.
on the house.
That's a good point.
So, yeah,
You got
You'll have to come up and
yeah. Okay, thank you. Hey, wait, do name and
Yeah, we'll
address.
need
Jane Kelly, 5400 Lost Canyon here
Oh,
in
okay.
Conway. That's my granddaughter.
So, yeah.
Could she do brick to match the white brick that's on the front of the house? Because I'm concerned with the maintenance of hardy board. It will have to be painted
Well,
down the years.
That would. That's just me.
Yes, you can use brick.
Architect and commissioner.
I would
That's
rather
hands
see
down.
them
Is-
do brick. That's something they wouldn't have to worry.
is the brick painted?
Yes.
It
But we
is.
allow it with a new
If it's
construction.
new brick,
brick is
yes.
fine.
But you'd still have to paint brick. I'm not arguing. I don't care one way. You still have to paint brick. It's still maintenance.
Well, from what I understand, from what I've seen here in Conway, brick lasts for years with the painted brick.
Well, it has to be repainted.
We haven't seen it
it's
long
a
enough.
maintenance thing, but it's not. The brick itself won't warp and split like siding would. If it was wood or warp like
Well,
like vinyl.
the first
so.
house we had here had, I don't know what kind of, it was all brick except for the trim work around the eaves.
Sure.
And it had to be painted about every 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, and I know brick doesn't have to be painted every 5 years.
Yeah. Well, and again, it depends on the paint. Depends on the brick. If you get a concrete brick that. Because you're going to paint it, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be nice red Williamsburg brick. It's just
Right.
and that it's a different surface, different material, and the big thing is when water comes through it, moisture, which is what brick is supposed to allow to happen. But if you get something that's like concrete or something more dense like that, that shouldn't be, and with the right kind of paint.
Okay, so I'm not even aware of concrete
Well, I
brick.
mean, there's concrete bricks you can get that are just
Okay.
that's what a lot of painted brick houses
they're doing.
It's cheaper. It's you can get a brick house.
Okay, that would be
painted.
fine.
I mean, there's options. But if you want to, I mean,
And they look really nice.
yeah, to me,
That would be fine.
We can add that.
This is me with our little application here, saying, okay, first off, out of the gate here, we got to do hardy board or something like that, and brick wasn't put on there as an option. But if that's a viable option, that should just be added to the thing, and to me, they
Yeah, we
pick
can
what you
we can
want.
leave it to your choice. Like
Yeah.
you can do a little
Oh, that'd
more
be
research.
great.
We can
Yeah.
approve.
That's
We can
great.
approve
See,
both.
that
Either
and then you
or,
can
yeah.
decide
I love
which one you
that.
want and share it with
Because
Jane.
I'm like
Right.
her, I'm not familiar with hardy board. I haven't really had any experience with
Right.
it, so we could talk to the
and
construction
Bruce
guy.
that was here could have given us some stuff because he's a builder.
Right.
And I didn't.
He shouldn't have left.
I know.
We needed
He's always been that way. But,
Yeah.
This is public, but anyway, he's probably eating supper now. But
Yeah.
but no, to me, adding brick as an option that they're good with, that to me makes sense.
That's
Yeah, we're fine.
great. That's really
Okay.
great.
Yeah, because it's one of the approved materials.
Again, I indicated to them that I thought we could, since it was already vinyl, we could do that. And I don't.
And
where
I'm
I
like
got that
you,
idea,
Steve.
but-
I'm not a fan of vinyl at all.
Yeah, I know.
But it's
Well,
on the house.
it's on the house,
and
yeah.
that's why we thought, we could just match
Yeah.
it up. But
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
The siding that's below there, majority of it's in okay shape, but it'll be a job. I had no voice in it, but they're all looking at it. We could do the siding, and it was going to be expensive, so it got put on there back when the church.
Oh, so that's
did
when they did put
yeah,
it
because
on
it was the wood siding. It was. I can't say it was beautiful because it wasn't. It was rough. There were broken pieces. It was a rough.
Okay.
It needed a lot of work. It had been more than just TLC. It had been a lot of money.
Right.
So. To keep the house, I think they did the right thing. But now for you guys, then we've got vinyl to play with. So,
Well, that would be great. The choice, I love that
Okay.
though, so that we can talk to the
that helps a
contractor.
lot. That gives you can shop now. You
Right.
know.
So James, what is the difference between number 2 and number 4 on the recommendation? They look like they're repeating each other. Okay, cool. So,
Require auditions.
all right, and then my other question, personally, is it is recommended the commission and applicant discuss options to reduce the height of the rear addition, but we don't know what that height is.
Well, my discussion a while ago was that's a result of, first off, the shape of the size of the floor plan and the roof pitch matching most of the roof pitches on the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really against multiple roof pitches if you can avoid it.
And that's up to him. I know nothing
Yeah,
about roofs.
that to me, that's in keeping with the rest of the house. It's bigger than the other, but the main roof. If you look on the north elevation, the bottom, all those funny things. But that one in the middle that sticks up, that's the main house that was original, and it's not too far below this. But there's so many pieces coming out of it, it kind of gets lost in the jumble. And but the perspective. Seeing it flat elevation like this is never going to be seen.
Yeah, we don't have a south elevation. Wait.
No, because we're not doing anything on the front of the house.
Oh.
We're not even touching it. This nothing goes any further than that
Right,
carport.
there's no changes to the front.
There's a 3-foot height difference. The only reason it was included there is because one of the requirements in the overlay is that additions be of less height than the existing structure. It's 3 feet higher than the remainder of the structure. That said, it will not be visible from the street because of the difference in elevation and
Distance.
distance. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's not a condition.
Okay.
It was a point of discussion
to
to make
talk
sure
about,
that
yeah.
you all were aware.
Okay.
It's not something I'm personally concerned about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing in your mind's eye. Imagine on Prince Street, it's the street level is lower than the yard level.
Yeah.
By
A lot.
couple 3 feet.
Wow.
And so you're sitting in your car at pretty much grass level back there, and this thing is going to be 100 and something feet back there before you see it, and the roof itself goes that way that you see, and that way, and it it's just kind of saying disappears is not right, but it lessens itself
Yeah.
just by its physical
Yeah.
location and stuff. So
Okay.
that's why I wasn't
I
worried.
get it.
And then we started out with a gable, and it was like, oh, that's huge, and it just didn't work. And the gables on here were secondary gables off of the main house, and it just didn't make sense to do that. It was just huge, and so this seemed to make it work better and kind of blend in with the rest of the house with its height problem. But
Okay.
so
Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns?
No, all motion to approve, and with edits to the recommendations, just combining 2 and 4 together since they were the same thing, and then adding the addition of wood, hardy board, LP smart side, or brick as options for the addition.
I second.
Perfect. Any other discussion?
can,
Okay.
can I just say something as a discussion? Just okay. So we're doing the reduced number one. They're doing reducing the carport size, and that'd be what I resubmit to you, James. Just showing that. That's really the 1/1 windows we were showing. So that's it. Okay. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed.
Cool.
Great. Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
While I've got all of you here. We
When's
just
dinner?
found out that we couldn't do the double wide carport that wide, I believe Friday. So that brought up the idea of a garage maybe somewhere else on the property because they've got a huge lot. Is that something that we could present to you later? How does that work? Because the carport is going to be 18 feet wide, which is not really wide enough for 2 cars. If that's our only choice, we'll go with that.
My commissioner hat's back on. I'm
Okay,
done with you guys.
right.
If it would need to be a separate thing because we couldn't review something tonight. Say
I understand
with
that.
elevation.
That's what I'm just trying to find out.
It needs to come again as a separate
Yeah,
thing.
same process.
Yeah, it
Do
could
we
though.
have to do the letters to everybody again? And
It's going to have to because it can't. If you
The
you know
whole
if we
process.
entertain something tonight, if you weren't going to build it in the next 2 years, it's pointless because you have to come back again anyway. You know, don't know time frame. We haven't talked about
Right.
that, but because it drops off. Is it 2 years? Right. Okay. After 2 years, if you hadn't done it, you got to start over again anyway. So if it's not on the immediate, kind of thing, and it's just going to be easier to be and cleaner to come back with the garage only and just do that because we're this is what was presented. We've ruled on it, and that needs to come as a separate
Okay.
thing. So
Okay.
we'll back my architect hat for you. We'll get together and we'll get that carport figured out, and then I'll resubmit to them, and that should take care of things.
Yeah, and you can come back at any time for the garage. Like you can go ahead and get this done and then
Yeah.
come back and do that
Okay.
later.
Yeah, I know.
The guy that we're using to do the construction said that he wanted to do the building first, and then we would see how much money they had left. And I thought that was a good idea.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
and that works for us too.
And in that time frame, if it can happen, you can come back and do it, and you
Well, I sure hope
shouldn't
it
miss a
can
beat.
before
And it also
Years is
gives you a
up.
chance to get exactly what you want, so you know
Right,
what to
right.
submit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good.
Okay.
That'll be
Thank
good.
you so much,
Thank y'all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate your time.
Y'all can go. Okay, so we have bylaw stuff. And one thing that we almost got bit by tonight was the quorum issue. And this is what we brought up kind of prompted this, and I'm not if I'm jumping ahead, but we have in the bylaws, it says 5 for a quorum. We have 7 members, 4 is all that's needed for a quorum. That carries over from we had 9. Just didn't get caught up when we changed from 9 to 7.
I thought did we not?
We talked about doing it. We talked about looking, correct, no, we voted to correct the bylaw.
I think we had to vote to discuss
Yeah.
the changing of the bylaw.
So now we're discussing. And
Yeah.
was there any other things that we talked about? I mean, I don't know what kind of discussion's been had, but in the members and terms, we've got listed who representatives we need to have other than just, citizens. And
That can be taken out. It won't change the ordinance.
fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
One thing's been discussed, and it was kind of got difficult last time, but Liz happened to be on the downtown partnership, so it was fine. But having a representative from the downtown partnership that was from when the overlay district first started, and the downtown was part of that, and they were still doing, they kind of had, I think we represent. I mean, we take care of that area fine. The downtown is part of our historic the overlay district. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but I just don't know that we need to say we got to have one from there. And
Can we get input from them, Steve? Just reach out to Kim and just say, hey, what do you think about this?
We could.
I would be
And that's fine.
hesitant to just
No,
take it away without-
And I wasn't
Yeah.
saying we do that. Had been a point of discussion
Yeah.
before about the requirements. And we have the one from Pine Street Community, and we had what's his
David?
name?
David?
Yeah.
Carolina,
Yeah, and then before that was Betty Pickett. She was a representative, but still she was here. And we haven't, if we don't get an applicant from either area, we can't. It's not like we got to go do outreach and get one. But if we don't have an applicant, we don't. And maybe it's fine to leave it that way. I'm fine with that, But it's, I guess to some degree I'm not trying to make a statement about anybody in downtown partnership, but the historic preservation side of what we're doing, it might not always be represented by somebody from that. Just that's nothing wrong with that. It's just if we have a better chance of getting more historic preservation minded people and not have that requirement. That was kind of where that discussion came from years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I
so-
would be fine with just reaching out to them and saying,
That's fine.
hey, what do
Yeah.
y'all think about
I
this?
mean,
I don't think that they're
they
gonna.
they could submit somebody and we can interview them and somebody else,
Yeah.
bumps them. It's not, we're not forced to have one. I mean, it says was it shall include? How about, can we say instead of shall,
Anything you do in the bylaws isn't going to change.
the
I mean,
ordinance?
you would
Okay.
have to draft an ordinance to change it.
Okay.
So, I mean, we could take the entirety of Article A, Article 2A, Item 2 out, and that doesn't change a thing.
And so that's kind of a moot point.
Well-
I'm fine not to do it.
Well, that too, but if they had a concern, they could come and publicly address it, right? Just like anyone else. If they had an issue with something, right?
Yeah. I'm fine not to change it. I mean, it's all the talk I've just done. It's like, really, it comes down to if we don't have anybody submit an application, that we can't help that. And if we have somebody submit and there's somebody that's more qualified than them, we're going to, we can pick them, I think. If we don't leave it that way, I'm fine. I'm not trying to stir up anything. We do have coming up next month, start the advertising for next year. So we'll see how that goes with that too. But were there the bylaws that were needed to be dealt with?
Who is up for reelection?
Am I?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I started in January.
No, you guys are brand new. Yeah.
It's definitely Emily.
Dun, dun, dun.
I feel like I just got on another term,
this your
but maybe
second
I
term?
haven't.
No, it's my first.
Oh, well, so you can re-up. And, please do.
Oh, I will.
I figured.
Yeah, because you've been on longer than me, so you have to be on your
Well, this is
second.
my second term, but I didn't know how far into my second term I was. I thought I just re-upped in January, but
I thought
maybe
you
not.
did too.
But maybe not. I don't know. We need to check on that.
Yeah, because I
I
thought
don't
we had that
know. I
discussion.
have no
We can
idea.
definitely
I thought we had that discussion that if you'd be secretary, you could be or something like that, or some involved about you being secretary.
Oh, only if I was secretary. Not,
yeah, I think
not
that's
just
kind
me.
of what
No,
it
I'm
was.
just kidding.
No.
We had a private vote when you weren't here.
No.
Well, Liz and Margaret. Liz this is like her second year, isn't it?
Yeah, she seems.
Yeah,
Yeah, this would be her second year. I don't know.
Margaret, I can't remember dates. I don't know. I didn't
Margaret's
pay
been
attention.
here. I think Margaret and Liz, because George Covington rolled off 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is Liz's second year
Mm-hmm.
and Margaret's
I
second
want to say
year.
there's just one that's like will actually roll off this year, and then next year's a couple. It was kind of an overlap, funny or something. I could be wrong. You try.
Yeah,
you
I'd like
I'd
to
have
check on it.
Yeah, I'd
When's
have to
your
look.
year up?
Well, if you'll read in Article 2, Section A, Number 2,
Never.
one architect or other appropriate design professional may serve any number of terms. I'm not being snotty about that. It's just what it says. So basically, NA is what.
Until someone else wants on, huh?
Well, I'm not letting go that easy, but no, I'm teasing. No, it's just that's been that's to be discussed, I guess. But
Excellent.
so
So do we need to vote on the quorum change?
that we need
have
to
not
do.
done it?
We need to get that taken care of. don't we?
I'll have to make the revisions and send it to you
Okay.
10 days in advance of the next
Okay.
meeting.
Oh, okay.
And then you could vote on it.
That's why I was confused.
And
About.
it
Okay.
has to be
So we're s-
two-thirds of the full membership.
Whoa, a super majority. Okay. So we're yes, we do. Okay. Is the bylaw? The quorum number the only thing we really are going to be looking at, or is there other stuff you got coming?
If y'all want me to dig in there, I can. There are some things that we can make consistent with the changes I made to the planning commission.
I would like to. If we're going to do it, let's do it. Don't just do one here.
Let's get it
Yeah.
how you
One here, then in January do another one. Let's just do it all done.
make it.
So whatever you say. Now, if we disagree with them, we'll take that up. But no, I mean seriously, I'd rather let's do it all.
I agree.
So we don't need any kind of motion.
In the long run, let's work for you, right?
Just do it one time.
To do it one time.
Right now, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean it was revised in 2018. There's just there's a few things like
Well, the quorum thing. That almost bit us tonight.
it references Robert's rules and
I try to do that.
well, there's a simpler way that the Arkansas Municipal League
Oh.
has. It's just little
Well,
stuff like
if we
that.
delete that, Robert's, that's fine too. But I just I've got the book.
But things like Article A2 that where it has stuff that's pulled from the ordinance. It's not necessary to repeat it in the bylaws. Because
okay.
then when we change the ordinance, then we've got to go up and update the bylaws, and then you
Right.
inevitably get some level of miscommunication or confusion between the two.
Sure.
So I probably will take out anything that references something out of the ordinance, other than maybe 2A1, just simply because it's not necessary
Okay.
to be included in there.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is it a question or is it a motion?
There's a
I
motion.
second.
It was presented as a question. Have a motion to say it adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Sorry.